They laughed at her dreams until she became the person they admired most. Maya grew up in a quiet town where nobody expected greatness from ordinary people. The streets were small, the houses were old, and the people there believed life was something you survived, not something you changed. From a very young age, Maya heard the same words over and over again. You're too slow. You're not smart enough. You'll never become anything important. At school, teachers barely noticed her. Students ignored her. And even when she tried her best, it never seemed good enough. She wasn't the loudest, wasn't the prettiest, wasn't the most talented, and eventually, people stopped calling her by her name. Instead, they called her something else, useless. At first, it sounded like just another insult, but over time, the word followed her everywhere, at school, at home, inside her own mind. Every mistake became proof. Every failure became confirmation. Every bad grade felt like evidence that maybe everyone was right. And slowly, Maya began to believe it too. Every morning she woke up already exhausted, not because life was physically hard, but because carrying self-doubt every day is its own kind of pain. She watched other students shine effortlessly. Some were gifted in sports, others were naturally brilliant. Some had confidence that filled every room they entered. But Maya, she felt invisible, like no matter how hard she tried, she would always remain behind everyone else. One afternoon during class, the teacher asked students to talk about what they wanted to become in the future. One student said he wanted to become a lawyer. Another dreamed of becoming a doctor. Someone else wanted to travel the world. The classroom was full of excitement. Then the teacher looked at Maya. And you? The room became quiet. Maya hesitated. Her hands trembled slightly under the desk, then softly, almost whispering, she answered, I want to become someone people can be proud of. For a moment. Nobody said anything. Then the laughter started, not loud at first, just whispers, smirks, mocking looks. One student rolled his eyes and said, You can't even pass math. Another laughed. How are you going to make anyone proud? Someone in the back whispered. She should focus on surviving school first. The classroom exploded with laughter again. Maya forced herself to smile, but inside, something shattered. That afternoon, she walked home alone under heavy rain. No umbrella, no music, no distractions, just silence. And painful thoughts repeating inside her mind. Maybe they're right. Maybe I really am useless. When she arrived home, she quietly entered the kitchen. Her mother was sitting near the window, sewing old clothes to earn extra money. The room was dim, the walls were worn out, and exhaustion filled the air. Her mother looked up and smiled gently. How was school? Maya paused, then lied. It was okay, because sometimes the people struggling the most become experts at pretending they're fine. That night, Maya sat alone in her room staring at the ceiling, thinking about every insult, every humiliation, every moment she had failed, and for the first time, she seriously considered giving up on her dreams completely. But then something happened. She noticed an old notebook sitting near her bed. Inside were drawings she had made years earlier. Sketches, ideas, dreams. As she flipped through the pages, she remembered something she had forgotten. There was one thing she truly loved: design, art, creativity. Whenever she drew, the world became quiet. Whenever she created something, she felt alive, but people had mocked that too. You can't build a future from drawing. That's unrealistic. Be serious. So she buried that dream until that night. Maya picked up a pencil again. And for the first time in months, she felt peace. The next day, she made a decision. If the world already believed she would fail, then she had nothing left to lose by trying. So while everyone else wasted time scrolling endlessly on their phones, Maya began learning design online for free. At first, she was terrible. Her work looked amateur. Her ideas were messy, and progress felt painfully slow. But unlike before, she didn't quit. Every day she practiced, before school, after school, late at night, while everyone slept. Weeks became months, months became years. Slowly, the girl everyone called useless began improving, but life still wasn't easy. There were moments she cried from frustration, moments where comparison destroyed her confidence, moments she almost deleted all her work and gave up forever. Because growth is painful when nobody believes in you, especially when you're still trying to believe in yourself. At school, the insults continued. Some students mocked her drawings. Others laughed at the idea that she wanted a creative career. One teacher even told her, "People like you should focus on realistic jobs." That sentence stayed in her mind for weeks. But instead of quitting, Maya became obsessed with proving herself wrong. Not the haters, not the doubters. Herself. Because deep down, the hardest battle was never against other people. It was against the voice inside her own head telling her she wasn't enough. And slowly, she started winning that battle. At 19 years old, Maya began posting her designs online. At first, nobody cared. 5 likes, 10 views, no comments. Sometimes she spent 10 hours creating something, only for almost nobody to notice it. But she kept posting, kept learning, kept improving, while others searched for shortcuts. Maya focused on consistency. Then one night, everything changed. A famous content creator shared one of her designs. Within hours, thousands of people saw her work. Then hundreds of thousands. Messages started flooding in. People praised her creativity. Companies reached out. Clients wanted to work with her. For the first time in her life, people saw value in her. But the craziest part? The same people who once mocked her dreams suddenly changed. Classmates who ignored her now followed her online. Teachers who doubted her suddenly acted supportive. People who once called her useless now called her inspiring. And Maya realized something important. People often laugh at dreams they do not understand, until those dreams succeed. Years later, Maya built her own creative company. She hired artists, mentored struggling students, and helped young people who felt invisible just like she once did. One evening, she returned to her old school to give a speech. The same hallways, the same classrooms, the same place where she once felt worthless. Students filled the room listening carefully, and Maya stood confidently on the stage, not because she had become perfect, but because she had survived everything that once tried to break her. Then she said something nobody in that room would ever forget. Never let someone else define your worth. She paused, then continued. Some people will call you useless simply because they cannot see your potential yet. But your value does not decrease because someone fails to recognize it. The room became silent because those words were real. Maya smiled softly and looked around the room. I spent years waiting for people to believe in me, but my life only changed when I decided to believe in myself. And that is the truth most people never realize. Confidence is not something people give you. It is something you build, painfully, slowly, through failure, through rejection, through continuing even when nobody claps for you. So if you feel invisible right now, if people mock your dreams, if life makes you question your worth, do not quit. Some of the most extraordinary people in history were once ignored, rejected, laughed at, doubted, but they kept going, and one day, the same people who doubted them were forced to watch them succeed. Because greatness is not reserved for people who are naturally gifted. Sometimes, greatness belongs to the people who refuse to give up on themselves. And remember this, just because they called you useless does not mean you are powerless. Your story can still change. Your future can still grow. And the person they laugh at today may become the person they admire tomorrow.